All right, you're watching Liquid Lunch on Biz TV. I'm Frank Morano. Usually joining me for these 2 hours every day is John A. Tobacco Jr., but he is right now at the opening of a tanning salon that is reopening in blatant defiance of the executive order from the governor and the mayor. So we had hoped that John would zoom in with live updates of exactly what was going on, but so far we haven't heard from him, and we're hoping that he wasn't arrested. Now, meantime, as we're watching this situation here on Staten Island, which you can bet is going to play out in different localities all over the state. So we're watching it and monitoring it. So we'll bring you the latest as it unfolds. Now, the other story we're watching, quite disturbing story, is the story of the death of George Floyd. I'm not sure if you've heard about this, but George Floyd died in police custody in Minnesota. And a very, very disconcerting video, putting it mildly, has been released in which you see George Floyd, 46 years old, being killed. And what we see in the video, and again, I'm always hesitant to draw too many conclusions from these videos, but we don't because we don't see what happens before the video and elsewhere. But what we see is after an officer was seen forcing his knee onto George Floyd's neck on the pavement, you see George Floyd pleading with this guy, "I can't breathe, don't kill me." And then subsequently, he did die. Now, there's calls from a number of people around the country for an investigation into this. The mayor of Minneapolis is calling for the arrest of this police officer. Now, you also add into this the fact that the George Floyd was black and the police officer who killed him was white. That injects a whole level of racial tension into this that makes stories like this a powder keg. Now, even the president has said that the DOJ is going to investigate this. The FBI is going to look into this. The Justice Department is saying this is a high priority for them. So local law enforcement is looking into it, and so is national law enforcement. So you can bet if there was some misconduct on the part of this police officer, he'll be charged with something. I would think, not an attorney or a law enforcement expert, I occasionally just play one on Facebook, but I would think that the most likely charge for him is something like manslaughter. But we'll see what happens. We're going to monitor that. But the other disturbing aspect about this is now we're seeing demonstrations break out in both Minneapolis and LA. And to call them demonstrations is putting it kind of mildly. These are essentially riots. We're seeing people looting in both of these communities, in LA and in Minnesota, and one person has died as a result of this rioting. And I do really wonder. I have never understood rioting and looting. I mean, you disagree with what a police officer did. You disagree with the fact that he hasn't been charged. How does it help George Floyd, his memory, his legacy, and his family to break into a store and steal a TV? And I don't get it. And especially we're seeing one death already. I've never gotten rioting. I just don't get it at all. So I'm hoping that if you're watching this and you're considering rioting, you will try to avoid doing so. But certainly it's a sad, sad situation. And again, I'm hesitant to jump to any conclusions, but looking at this video, it looks like pretty egregious police misconduct here. So we're going to keep an eye on that. Now, a lot of you watching on Facebook, big hello, Facebook. Thank you for sharing. And if you're not watching us on Facebook, if you're watching us on TV or listening to us on radio, you can actually find us on Facebook at Liquid Lunch TV. Just type in Liquid Lunch TV on Facebook, and we can keep this show going during commercial. So the rest of the TV audience sees this, but the Facebook audience sees the show keep going. So you're definitely going to want to like us on Facebook. But anyway, one of the stories that the social media watchers among you have been watching is President Trump versus Twitter. Just yesterday, Twitter came out, actually 2 days ago, Twitter came out and started fact-checking President Trump's tweets. The president put out a couple of tweets about mail-in voting, and Twitter decided to take it upon themselves to add a fact-check disclaimer. Now, today, President Trump is coming out and he's saying he's planning to issue an executive order regarding social media. Now, this is not going to be an executive order that makes things easier for Twitter. Spoiler alert. So apparently, he's threatened to strongly regulate or close down these social media companies. So those of you that are tweeting right now, and by the way, you can find me on Twitter at Frank Morano. Please follow me. Please like me. Please retweet me. You better enjoy your tweets now before President Trump decides to do something else with how Twitter does business. All right. Coming up in just a couple of minutes, we're going to talk with Susan Rochester Zacconi. She is the founder of Grandma Tilly's Coleslaw. I did love this coleslaw because it's a healthy coleslaw. I'm a coleslaw fanatic. It's the first thing I go for in any diner. But I'm a little disappointed in Ms. Zacconi because she has yet to send me any coleslaw whatsoever during quarantine. So when we talk to her next, she's also an accomplished children's book author. We'll chat with her about coleslaw, about how to keep your children well educated and entertained when they're stuck at home, and most important from my perspective, we'll see if we can get her to send me any additional coleslaw. You're watching Biz TV and Liquid Lunch. I'm Frank Morano.
Most financially successful people own assets that make them money while they sleep. They usually own real estate, vehicles, intellectual property, equipment, and more. These assets make passive income through leases, subscriptions, royalties, and fees that don't require time, energy, or attention. Your assets do the work, and you collect the check. So what kind of asset should you buy? The most valuable companies in the world, like Amazon, Google, and Apple, all have the same thing in common. They make a majority of their revenue from data technology assets, storing, collecting, processing, and providing data. It's all about the data. What if you could own data tech assets with a low upfront cost? Introducing Apex, a proprietary technology built to process and mine data and render artificial intelligence and 3D gaming at exceptionally high rates. Apex Tech has partnered with SafeTech, a subsidiary of a publicly traded company called InvestView. SafeTech's business model leverages Apex technology to disrupt the multi-trillion-dollar data tech industry, giving you the competitive advantage. SafeTech's growth strategy is to capture a significant share of the market. SafeTech will enter into a 60-month lease with owners of Apex systems. Why would they do that? Why not just buy all the equipment themselves? The same reason most companies lease instead of own, to scale quickly without the upfront costs and for the tax benefits. So how do you get started? You purchase an Apex system. Then you can lease it to SafeTech for 60 months at a rate of $500 per month. That's a total of $30,000 paid to you over the life of the lease. So what's your responsibility besides purchasing the Apex system? Nothing. During the lease, SafeTech is responsible for any maintenance costs to keep things running for you. Just collect a check every month for the next 60 months. This tremendous financial opportunity positions you to follow the strategies of the financially successful. You can leverage data technology to produce passive income that generates revenue without your time, energy, or effort. This is what is meant by creating multiple streams of income. But the opportunity to participate will not last forever. If this concept fits your financial goals, take action today while you still have the chance.